We'll start the stream. No, let's see. Okay, and I think we're live, but before I'm sure of it, I will ask people to just jump on in and tell us something so that we know that you can hear both me and Cameron. Cameron, hey, how are you?
Hello, hello. Yes. Welcome. Actually, what I can do is I can hear if I hear myself here real quick too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm on
We're
I'm on
listening.
YouTube listening.
Okay, listen to us. Let me know. And by the way, for people joining for the first time, we did
Oh,
this little intro the first time. Um,
I can definitely hear myself. And I love that it
okay.
says Corey on there. I gotta change that
Yeah.
somehow.
We did this the first time, but we had some tech issues. But now we're doing it for real. We're doing it live, but I guess if people don't see it live, they can always come back later and watch it. And
There
so,
we go.
what we're talking about is AMMs. So we're going to kind of go over how AMMs work, how liquidity works, what is price impact, what is slippage, what is impermanent loss, and how you provide liquidity, and all of that. Uh, this conversation is happening because the other day Cam came to talk to me on Twitter like, "Yo, dude, what's up? I just bought some tokens and I bought like 100 KDA. Now it's for 10 KDA. What's up? What's happening? I don't know. Maybe Cam, you can just explain how what went down before he
Yeah,
proceeds.
so yeah, basically it was a token that was just dropping and it was funny. I should have realized stuff was off anyways, but I just wasn't paying attention. Um but yeah, it was a token that was technically an IDO, I think, at the time. Uh, they were in their public IDO stage, I think. And basically, I guess what, I ended up finding out later that they ended up not doing was setting a timer or anything as far as to when they were going to release said tokens. So some of their community or some of their initial IDO investors had bought the token, gotten it immediately, and then set up their own pool on Katie Swap, uh, which uh, didn't have any liquid in it basically, and I stole all the liquid with only 100 Canadian or like $150 worth. But yeah, so that kind of led me to like, yeah, I looked into the 100. I put in 100 KDA and then tried looking at what it would get me. Literally, like I think it was 5 minutes later, and it was only worth like 10 or 15 KDA, and I was like, "What just happened?" And that led me to go running, crying to Afonso.
Yeah. So what
Yeah,
happened? What happened is Jody had like an IDO, but they had their own platform to do the IDO. And what happened is that I think they messed up. They shouldn't have done that. What they did was, as you bought the tokens, they would immediately go to your wallet, so you had access to them right from the start, right? And they wanted to add liquidity themselves to KDSwap, right? So because they couldn't add liquidity before the IDO finished, and people already had the tokens at their disposal, anyone could add liquidity, and so someone added like I think it was like 125 KDA worth of liquidity. I don't even know the ratio they add liquidity. It doesn't matter because at that price, if you buy 100 KDA, your price impact is like immense because you're basically doubling the liquidity that there's in there. And so that's what happened. You got screwed. You got the short end of the stick, and then maybe some people got super lucky because they were able to sell their Jody at like an immense ratio that they bought it with. So when you talk to me, I think it would be fun to for us to go through why that happened and how how an AMM works because it's a little different than what we used to with a centralized exchange that works with an order book model. An AMM doesn't have kind of the visuals of the kind of the how do you say the orders, right? On a sex on a centralized exchange, you can really see the orders that you are buying, right? You can choose the price that you want to buy. On an AMM is very different, and it's very reliant on the liquidity. So you need to pay attention to that. So the
Yeah.
thing I asked you the other time we tried to do this, and that it kind of didn't work, is if I ask you what matters more for the price impact, would it be the market cap or the liquidity?
Yeah, and I was going to say I think that most people speak about crypto as far as the market cap, and that being the way to recognize like 1,000x or whatever. But yeah, in my mind, obviously now, especially now that I understand it a bit more, I'm pretty sure it's really the liquidity. It's how much obviously there is to buy and sell is really going to be, you know, your volume or your possible volume. If there's if there's no volume, then nothing's moving. And yeah, there's a lot, I guess. But yeah, it's more the liquidity, I would say now.
When we're talking about like big market caps and big cryptos that are like listed on dozens of exchanges and DEXs, the market cap also matters because the market cap is basically the circulating supply times the price. So if there's a lot of circulating supply, that will impact the price and how much people can actually sell and buy. But on small market caps and like young coins that are only listed on one DEX or maybe or no DEX at all, the liquidity is very important because you know a big guy comes and makes a big purchase, and if the liquidity is low, the price will move like crazy. And so this is why people don't understand that liquidity is what matters most on the first listing of a token, like on a DEX. And to illustrate kind of that concept, I made kind of two examples: token A and token B. So this token A has a circulating supply of 100,000 and token B of 10 million. They both sold for the same price in the IDO. So the market cap of this one is like 100 times lower than the market cap of this one, right? So you would think that this having a higher market cap would be harder to pump or dump, right? But what happens when you go to the DEX and if you had liquidity and if you add these values of liquidity for token A and token B, what happens is that the price impact for a $500 purchase is twice on the token B, which has like 100 times more market cap than on token A. Now
Right.
let's try to explain why this works. How an AMM DEX works is with this called constant product. This means that the product between the both assets inside of the pool needs to be constant before and after you make a swap. So in this case, this is a product of 10,000 times 10,000, right?
Right.
When you make a purchase of $500, let's say you go to KD Swap, right? And you wanna buy KDS and you put there 500, right? What happens is you will add 500 to the pool of to the KDA amount inside the pool, right? So if you do the calculations, and this number, the 100 million or something, needs to be constant, you can see that in the end, the price impact of that purchase will be 5%. And this is the calculations here. I will share this Excel later if you guys want to play around with it and see what happens. But basically, in the math, this is the price impact. Now, on token B, the constant is much lower, right? 5,000 times 5,000 is 25 million. So it's
Mm-hmm.
4 times as low, right? And so when you make a purchase of 500, the price impact will be doubled because of that. Okay? And here on the left, I mean, this is all slowly explained, all the steps, the constant product, how much tokens are there in the pool 2 after the swap, how much tokens are for the token 1 on the pool, the amount of token 1 bought, which is just the subtraction of both, and the actual price you paid. So this is the price impact.
Right.
Now, another concept people always get mixed up is price impact, which is stated here, right? And you can see when you put more, the price impact goes up and up and up, right?
Right.
At this point, it's barely you can trade this because you get wrecked, right? But
Yeah.
if you just buy like
Like I
5,000,
did.
like you did, but but now
Luckily, it was only $100. So
yeah,
yeah.
and now we can actually see if you go to and this is a new feature we have. So
There's new tokens too. It's funny. I've been
yeah,
watching the like the what are they community tokens. Sorry, I think they're called on
exactly
KDS. But
here.
but yeah, it's just funny seeing some of them. They're up like 50,000 at one point and down like. But I see. Yeah, you have the show
But
unverified.
yeah, but
I
now
actually
now
didn't
we have this so that you don't.
actually didn't realize that.
Oh, it's
Oh,
added today. We added this today,
yeah,
so now
nice,
you don't see
nice.
the
Oh, so death to the
unverified,
community, death to the community coins.
and you can
That's hilarious.
if you go to the pools, actually, you can see like the liquidity. This is where you should
Yeah,
have came before, and
yeah, exactly.
you can see. I mean, the maximum here is 0.14 KDA liquidity. That's zero basically. And if you
Wow.
choose,
Well, I was actually even gonna say like I just noticed if you look at Jody Inu right now, it's only got 136 KDA there.
yeah, because Jody decided to pull out liquidity from KDSwap because
Yeah,
they believe the arbitrage token was dragging their price down. But since they removed
that's too
liquidity from
funny.
KDSwap, the price actually went down like 5x or something. So I don't think that was the issue, but they decided to pull out. And well, the token is still verified, but be careful trading this. Be careful
Yeah,
trading.
obviously there you go.
Yeah,
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is now I do know, right? I know, sadly, you know, luckily I learned from my mistake, but sadly I had to learn from a mistake, but either way it is like it's something that I do look at now. And it's actually interesting, while we're literally looking at that, it might tie into this or I don't know, but I did have a question about the wrapped Bitcoin because
okay.
obviously like when the wrapped Bitcoin originally dropped, it was worth like 20, it's still like wrapped Bitcoin on your site technically says it's worth 23,000. So
Let's see.
why would it be priced at that
Yeah.
rather than, I mean, technically it's peg, which would be Bitcoin, right? Like
But
I
let's
noticed that with like when I followed wrapped Cadena and Cadena, like sometimes wrapped Cadena would have been worth like $5 when Cadena was still only worth like a buck 50. And I was like, this has to be some weird like liquidity thing,
yeah,
right? Or like,
this is all what's the matter here? This price is not the price of the wrapped assets. This is the
right.
price of the ratio between wrapped Bitcoin and Cadena. So our DEX lives on Cadena, right? So
Yeah,
the price that we compare everything to is the price of Cadena. So we look at the ratio inside this pool, right? And based on the ratio, we give the value to the wrapped Bitcoin. But one wrapped
right.
Bitcoin it's equal to one Bitcoin, right?
Yeah,
So if you buy one Bitcoin from here, you won't be able to sell it for 23,000. You will only
yeah.
be able to sell it for what the actual price of Bitcoin is. This
Uh,
ratio here represents an arbitrage opportunity actually, because since the Bitcoin here is not cheaper.
it's inflated,
It's
right? Basically.
inflated. The price it's
Yeah.
inflated, so it means that you can actually go get Bitcoin and sell it to this pool so that the price goes down, and you get some free Cadena, so to speak. The issue is that there's no liquidity to do that. So
Right.
this would be the case if there was more than 30 Cadena liquidity, right?
Yeah.
And this
That would be
happens
like what 0.0000000000001 Bitcoin or something.
exactly. But this happens, for example, with USDC. If you go to wrapped USDC, in this case, the peg is perfect, right? But sometimes
Yeah.
you can see here
Yeah, it does go down and
it
stuff,
went
yeah.
to 0.86. This is an arbitrage opportunity because you if the pool is valuing the wrapped USDC at 0.86, it means that you can buy 14% more USDC with your Cadena, and then you can go sell the USDC. This is all arbitrage opportunities, right? Because it's comparing the value of it to Cadena. And at this point, Cadena went down like pretty fast, and so people didn't have time to adjust the ratio inside here. And so when they did, the price went up again, and it regained the peg. But something I wanted to talk about as well was slippage and price impact, and how people confuse the two of them. So
well, yeah, because that's the thing. Like slippage, I find, obviously, like some people immediately think that slippage is basically just the tax, but I think it's because it's been added in, kind of where like people buy into these, the shit coins, or pardon me, the poop coins, or whatever you want to call them, which I've bought into, and it's the thing that I had to learn as well. It's like you buy into a coin that has like, a 12% tax, and at first you're kind of like, yeah, that doesn't seem too bad, but then it's like, wait a minute, like that means I have to basically like go up 80% to make like 40%, and then it's like, but then you also end up paying that tax on the other end, and you're like, wait, did I even make money, or did I just lose like 30-40% to a tax, which gets kind of added into slippage, I think. So I think, yeah, like what is slippage generally, rather than being a tax as well, kind of thing.
What slippage is the price you're willing to pay extra,
right,
if someone front runs you. Okay, so let's say I have slippage at 5%. Okay, and the current, if I buy one, let's not put this, let's put KDL for example. If I buy 10 cadenas,
yeah,
this is my price. Okay, this is the price I'm getting if I'm buying 10 cadenas. Okay, so what happens is, if the price varies 5% from this, only if it varies, like only if it's to my, not to my gain, okay, the transaction won't go through. But let's say you are buying 100,000 cadenas. Now the price impact is 74, right? So you would think a slippage of 5% would not allow me to make this transaction, but it does, because this is the price I'm getting. I know this before I hit the buy button, right? This is the price I'm seeing. Now, if it changes 5% from this price, then it will fail. Okay, so that's the difference between price impact and slippage. Price impact, from the get-go, how much you're going to pay, right?
Right.
But the slippage is to avoid being front run. Okay, why you always needed to put the slippage at 20% when buying those shitcoins with 10% or 12% taxes, because they would take out 12% from the tokens you were supposed to get, and the ratio would change 10%, right? So you need to put the slippage up, because the price that was showing here was not the price that you're getting, because they would take the smart contract would take 10% of the tokens away, and so
that's
the price
hilarious.
would change right.
Yeah, I guess it's like artificially changing, but you don't see it change because they're taking that percentage out. So clearly you're going to be paying 12% more or whatever per than what it's showing. That's funny, because it's a sneaky way to get around, obviously making more money and, making more dollar off your coin.
It's a stupid gimmick. It's gamification, but stupid gamification, to be honest.
Well, and it's funny because I also know that some of those taxes, they then get like burned and stuff, right? So they're using it to like literally double down on manipulating their own token's price, right? It's
the only thing that meme tokens can do. It's come up
with
I
mean, at the end of the day, right?
Strategies that to say, listen, we're burning 5% of every transaction. Guess what? Every transaction, you get lower and lower supply. But people don't understand that the lower supply is coming from them. They are burning their tokens for to get the
Yeah, so
tokens.
they're really burning their liquidity too,
Exactly,
right?
burning
In
their own
theory.
money.
So yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's like it's literally like when you see photos of like the quote unquote rich people burning $100
Yeah,
bills or whatever, you know, and it's like, oh nice, thanks. It's like it's like you just gave us another reason to print more of those damn bills.
now I think to close off, we could talk about impermanent loss, which is
Yeah,
one of the
that's something, yeah, it's something that I don't quite understand as well. Like obviously, and that's the thing, I'm in some liquidity pools now. And so yeah, like how does impermanent loss work as far as, you know, like say right now, you know, a lot of the liquidity pools on Cadena have gone down since say I bought into them. So if I took out my coins now, that would be me getting affected by impermanent loss technically, right? Or
yeah.
like how does or is it when the liquidity pool itself gets liquidated that
No,
then
no,
you're
no.
like you're pooched kind of thing?
The impermanent loss is something that will happen to you anytime the ratio between the tokens that you offered liquidity to changes. So let's say you offered um, to KDA KDS. Okay, you offered liquidity to this pool when KDS was at this point. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it was 0.0043. Now it's at this point, so it more than doubled.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be suffering impermanent loss. How much? Well, there's a formula for that, but without formulas, I can explain you. I mean, not without formulas, with formulas, but just with the constant product formula, you can understand why this happens. So again, let's imagine the same trade. Okay, so let's say you, Cameron, you offered all the liquidity to this pool. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you offered 10,000 tokens of token one, doesn't matter what it is, and you offered
Yeah, yeah,
$10,000. Okay, so the
yeah,
liquidity is $20,000 because it's the
yeah.
10,000 plus the token one, which is worth 1 to 1, is worth 10,000 as well. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the current ratio. So according to the constant product, once I buy $500 from your liquidity pool, okay, after it will be $10,500, and there will be 9,523 point. Doesn't matter. This
Hmm.
number, okay. And how much is there in terms of dollars? Well, it's 10,500 times two, right? Because the ratio will be 1.05 to, it's the ratio is this on top of this. So it's
Right.
easy to know how much the liquidity is because you just need to look at one of the tokens and see its value in dollars and then just multiply it by two because
Right.
it's a liquidity pool. You have to have
Right.
the correct
Yeah,
ratio
yeah.
inside. Okay,
Makes sense. It's
so
like Cadena is kind of a nice one right now because it's at like $1.50. So yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
like a
easy
hundred
to
Cadena in there. It's like you've
it's
got $300 worth maybe of liquidity.
but
You
but
know,
the
it's
the
like
easier one is always the ones with stable coins, right? Because you can
yeah,
always
yeah, yeah,
so
definitely.
if you go to KUSCC, you see that there's 30,295 KUSCC, which means this pool
It's
it's
like
this 60,
60,500 something,
yeah,
whatever.
590 give or take. And if
Yeah,
you do this times 1.5, uh, it should be almost
maybe
that
like nine
the same,
ninety.
right? So
Gotcha,
two
gotcha.
182.67.5, that's almost the same there, right? 3
Hmm.
30,000 to
Yeah,
30,000.
it's literally off by like $20 or something.
Yeah, it's rounding errors. And so this means that if you double this, you always get the amount that you have inside a pool. It's the same for all
Hmm.
of them, but it's how it works. So
Yeah.
since I had it $500, um, the liquidity inside it's now double this, which is 21,000, right? So what does this show you? Let's say that your brother also had 10,000 of each token, but he didn't put it in the liquidity. He kept them, right? So he kept 10,000 USDC, which is worth 10,000, right? And he also kept 10,000 of token 1, which is worth 10,000 times the new price, right? Which is the new ratio is 1 point. It's this one, okay? So if you put this on top of this, this is the new ratio.
Right.
Okay. So he has $21,023, right? But your liquidity, your tokens are only worth 21,000 because it's 10,500 times 2, right? So your brother that did not offer liquidity is up on you $23.
I see.
What did you win? What did you win from having the tokens there? You won the fees, which are 0.03% for that trade, which in this case are just 1.428 per. So you have this plus this, okay? So you say, oh, so it's not worth it to offer liquidity, right? Well, no, because let's say I go back there, or another person goes back there, and now they sell $500 worth of the token 1, right? So your brother goes back to having 21,000, and you won $3, give or take.
Right.
Okay. So this is offering liquidity is a game where fees with time should outweigh the impermanent loss.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can have two tokens that go way different in ratio, but eventually the other one might go up again and the other one might go down, so they might come back to be kind of the same ratio,
right?
Or they may just say like 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, but with time and volume the fees add up and you eventually you'll get it. But it needs time. You're not making money like 2 months or 3 months. You need like a year inside a pool. So it's not worth it to offer liquidity if you're looking for like a quick buck or something. It's if you're intent to be there for the long run, so to speak.
Yeah. And I guess really then the benefits to getting in earlier is that you just get more of the fees, from the early volume, I guess, right?
The benefits for getting earlier, it's you get of course, if you get, and this is why DEXs want to get the first liquidity, or
right,
because the volume in the beginning is insane, right? And the fees are insane on that time. And people who offer liquidity in the first few the first few weeks or months, they are exposed to that volume, but they are also exposed to the volatility, right?
Because I guess more of the impermanent loss, right? So because you'd rather, if it goes 1,000% and has 40,000 volume, you're probably going to make more off the 1,000% gain than the 40,000 volume, in that first day or whatever, right?
Usually the new tokens that get listed, they all go a lot up in the beginning, right? They don't go.
Yeah, and
then
they don't
come back down. So it's not that good to be inside the pools at that point. What I do, I offer liquidity to 2 pools. What I do is like each month I offer like a little bit more. I kind of DCA my liquidity, so so that I don't offer all the liquidity at the same ratio. So I kind of balance it out. Okay, so either if the price goes up or down, since I offered at this rate, I offer at this one. If it goes to the middle, I kind of balance it out, and I'm always getting fees on that. And it's only on projects that I believe that will be here for the long run. I'm not offering liquidity to Kadosh or Jody. I'm offering liquidity to good projects. But it's a game of time, not like not something you can expect to gain insane amounts in a short time.
And definitely more times out of whenever I've heard of anybody doing that kind of stuff and making money off of it. It's that they got in early and they left their stuff in it for, a year or two, right? And then it's like they wrote it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I don't know if you have any more questions that you were thinking of.
No, and it's funny. I was trying to
Sorry.
just think about it, but yeah, it's one of those things too where I was even thinking about it with, the likes of like CADX, where they've got their mining right now or liquidity mining, their multiplier. I was wanting to ask them if it was almost smarter to like seeing as though you're gaining extra rewards right now from a multiplier. It's like, is it not almost better to like every week or two take that liquidity out, take the reward, and then put it back in with that extra reward? Like in my mind, it's like, well, if I'm getting an extra $14 for taking it out, I might as well just put it back in with that extra $14 on top,
Yeah.
right?
The
It's like, but I can imagine it all depends, right? Like you'd have to worry about where the price is sitting, I'm assuming, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I to be honest, I'm not sure how they work with the multipliers and one. I guess they offer you in CADX, right, in their token.
Yeah, yeah,
But the
yeah,
the,
exactly.
the thing I dislike, and I also already told this to the guys, to them. I don't like them putting APR here. I don't think this is good policy because this is not APR.
Yeah.
This
Well, and that's
values.
the thing. Like I've definitely noticed that because yeah, it's like I've taken, again, like I can take out my KDA and CADX pair and I see that I'm getting a fee of whatever, $12 in CADX, right? But yeah, my Kishiken one, I've tried pulling it out a couple times to see, and like there's no fees, no nothing collected. So I'm kind of like, where is this APR? Like so
Because
yeah,
this what happens here, this percentage is speculative on the volume and liquidity of the past 24 hours. So
right.
I
Yeah,
think,
I've noticed it drastically changes from day to day.
yeah,
It's
because it
not,
depends on the volume of the 24 hours. So I can
yeah,
tell you here, like, the if you do the math, like, I think we can get to that number. This is point 0 25% This is what, wait, no, this is definitely not, yeah. So this is for one day. If you do it for 365 days and you divide it by the liquidity that's in there, which is 499 points, oh, not points, 499,700.14. So you see, I think I missed the zero, but it's
yeah. But either way, yeah, I see.
22.07.
Yeah,
So what they're doing is that they're multiplying the fees that the whole pool gets in 24 hours, multiply that by 365 days because it's annual percentage revenue, right? And
right.
then divide it by the liquidity. But the issue here is
Hmm.
that if tomorrow the volume goes to half, this APR goes to half. And
Hmm.
where did the 22% go? It's not 22%. It's now 11%. I don't
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
interesting.
I don't think this is APR. This is something else. This is like
Yeah,
speculative gains or something like that. But it's not
yeah.
something.
Well, I see what you mean for sure by it being kind of misleading, in reality. And it's funny because it's not like they're the only ones to do it, right? Like obviously there's plenty of
But
other
it's if you go
Dexes that
to
have it,
pancakes,
right?
if you go to Pancake Swap, for example,
Yeah.
and you go to earn
Yeah, right.
and you
Yeah,
go
they're
to
pools.
close,
And that's the thing. Like I used to do, and
this is
I
APR.
was
But
on
this is
there,
correct. This is APR. This is right.
and it's because when you stake it, you're actually setting your APR basically,
No,
right? Like you
because
set,
what happens is, uh, cake, uh,
yeah,
Pancake Swap. They say, like, for this pool in particular, we have 10 million cake tokens, which
yeah,
we will distribute within 3 months. So get that, and then people start putting money in, and depending on the people on the money that's in, you can divide that whole package of tokens throughout the
right,
people. But they have the tokens already set to distribute, so it's actually an APR. When you put money now, even if for a second you are winning this 51.88% APR, and if no one else puts money, you're going to win this 51.88% APR
Right.
for as long as you have the token. So this is not
Gotcha.
speculative. This is the
Yeah.
exact value of the revenue. So it's a bit different than this, and this is the only reason I have been saying that they should change the name here. They should put like a speculative returns or something like that, because it's not in the.
Or even just like daily percentage or something, rather
I
than
don't know,
like
something that is not this, because
yeah.
it's not the same.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. And thanks for explaining that too, because it definitely makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense,
sure, man, sure.
It's like,
That's what we're here for.
but
I
yeah.
I, I don't think people are have any questions because they didn't ask, but I think
Yeah,
this
sadly
is
I didn't see too many people pop up, but
eh,
either way, it's a good video to have. And
sure.
I know I'll definitely be able to share it to friends now when they want to know.
It's good to for prosperity, and for people to kind of, when they have any doubts about how these things work, they can come back and listen and try to
No,
understand, because I
well,
think
definitely.
I think
It's even oh,
I think
sorry.
sorry, I think people don't quite get how these things work, and they sometimes get mad because they were expecting an outcome and get another. And I know this because I was like that before. I used to try and buy tokens like on listing days, and for some reason I got out front run, and I didn't understand why. Now I do, because you need to change your gas cost or your gas price if you want to front
Yeah.
run people and buy before them. And if you don't understand how things work, you get frustrated. And I hope people start to understand. And if we can help, all the better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. One of the first times I had actually really figured out that people were doing that, the Cadena, like, or well, not Cadena, but you know, paying extra ETH, to have much faster gas for like mints and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But um, I saw it on when CADEX actually had done one of their sales. It was like the public IDO or whatever back in, I can't even remember when they did that now, but it was one of the like I don't think it was CADEX's chat, but it was in like the Cadena chat,
Mm-hmm.
and someone had popped up in their Discord and was kind of like, "Hey, like was just curious as to why like gas cost me this much or whatever, like what happened here kind of thing." And it was funny because we were like, the one person I remember right away, they were like, "Well, they were like, I thought gas was supposed to be really cheap. I ended up paying like, I think they ended up saying that they bought like a couple $1,000s worth of Cadex, and they ended up paying almost like $400 or $500 in gas on
Damn.
Cadena. And everyone was like, what did you do? Like, what happened? And the guy's like, oh, well, I'm used to buying on ETH. So I set the gas limit to like 50 kDA. And everyone was like, oh, well, that's your problem. Like, we're at like 0.000001 Cadena. So you could have put it to like 0.000 and been super fast. But this guy was like, oh, ETH, like 50 Cadena should be good, right? And it literally like bombed him with way crazy just gas prices. Like it just ate up his Cadena or whatever, right? But it was like, yeah, it's just funny that that's a thing, and people tend like, on some networks they have to do that just to take part, right? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're fighting bots at that point. So either way, it's nice to know, and like I think that's something that like I've wanted to chat with like I'm a part of the Wrecked Wolves or whatever. They're an NFT community that
Mm-hmm.
started on Luna, and now we're on Ethereum and Polygon now. But they they're just kind of like, yeah, their thing is like wreck together, wreck tomorrow, that kind of thing, right? It's all like the stories of being wrecked, and then it's like awareness, and they do bounties for projects and blah blah blah. But they were the first people that I had heard that they're like, minting straight from contracts and stuff, right? And it's like, how do you do that? Like, I want to know how to do that. I don't want to even worry about being whitelisted. Just be like, whoop, 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 thank you, and it's like some people know how to do it, and it's like that's definitely,
It's an
it's stuff like
advantage,
that
right?
that
It's an advantage, and
yeah,
you kind of
definitely.
you kind of feel like on a different level when you start doing those things. And But
One, it's
on the other
also a
hand,
safety thing though too, right? Like as
yeah,
far as I know, that's the thing. Like now you're not having to go to creepy things and connect your wallet, right? Which is a huge MetaMask thing. And so that's why obviously it's more prevalent kind of, on Ethereum right now. A lot more people are pushing, mint from straight from contract because then you don't have to worry about weird bullshit happening nine
yeah.
times out of 10. But yeah, it's a crazy world. So
Yeah, yeah, man. And I glad that you joined me to try and spread a little bit of awareness and try to get people to understand it better, how things work.
I, I I definitely do. So I appreciate it either way, and thanks for having me by. So
Okay, I think that wraps it up, and
yeah, that's the lesson for today, at least.
and yeah,
But yeah, no,
let's do this again with some other topics that you can come up with or that I come up with,
yeah,
and
totally,
we'll do it again.
definitely, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah, and thanks again for having me. And yeah, you have a good rest of your day there, and we'll talk to you later.
thanks, Cameron. You too. See
Yeah.
you guys.